semester, but the only reason I know that is because I plan my life out like months in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm traveling in March and April and June. So I won't be here for a couple streams. Sure, but the only reason I know.
Okay. We can mute the stream. And then this is up. Okay, that's muted. Good. All right, stream is up. People can hear you.
Chat.
And
cool,
this time around, it actually started the YouTube stream when I told it to, instead of waiting till the exact time I scheduled it, which happened before. I don't know why, but yeah. So I know Shadow's not going to be here specifically. It didn't have to do with the week. It had to do. He started reading the series, and he pretty much just felt like he would not have much to contribute to the discussion about it. Because it's a little too adult for him, basically, was how it sounded. So, and I understand it now, because I hadn't read it at all prior to seeing that. So I was like, oh no, what did Justin recommend us? Are we getting into like some real fucked up stuff? And I mean, there was like a couple scenes later, but it was like pretty brief. But this is also a zombie apocalypse series, so I don't doubt that it does get very fucking, you know, like graphic. Sexual violence, graphic kind of stuff later on, maybe. But there wasn't too much. There was like you know, some scenes with sexual stuff in these first volumes, but we don't have to. It wasn't like enough to be like, all right, guys, we're gonna have to. Because that's what I thought I was gonna do, because I hadn't read it at all, and Justin actually hasn't read it at all, even though he owns the volumes.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I would hope he's read it now, but prior to recommending this, he had the volumes and hadn't read them yet, and was using this as an excuse to read them, which is fair. But I was, when Shadow was like, yeah, I don't know if I want it, I was like, oh no, did Justin recommend us some like really edgy, like fucked up shit later on, and he doesn't even know it yet? And then I read it, and I'm like, okay, well, I see why Shadow doesn't want to be involved, but it's not enough to where I have to like say, guys, we're not going to read this or whatever. So
yeah.
The reason why this got moved out a couple weeks for those listening on the stream or the VOD later on is just because of the holidays, pretty much. We had scheduled it initially for like, I forget, it was like the 21st of last month or something, or it was the 14th or something. And then it got moved because several of us could not make it, and then also I had just remembered. It was a good thing that we did reschedule, because I didn't remember prior to rescheduling it, but afterwards I was like, oh, it's a good thing I did. We had a guest stay over for the holidays, a relative of ours, and where they were staying was like in a room right next to mine, and I didn't want to be hosting this while they're like trying to sleep or whatever. So I mean, so that ended up working out because we rescheduled, and then the next week we rescheduled because it was still also around the holiday time, and also several of us were like sick or not able to attend for various reasons. I specifically got cellulitis in my foot. So Christmas Day, things were going great. Nana made a ton of food. We had a good time. And then as soon as we were done with dinner, I had a blister suddenly appear between two of my toes on one of my feet. It filled up really fucking fast and itched, and then like as soon as I tried walking, it like burst, which is fine. The problem was it later on got infected, so it like very quickly got infected, and it got swollen and red, and we went to the urgent care a few days later because it wasn't going away. And they had basically taken a look at it and explained to me what cellulitis is. Essentially, it's like when you get an infection, and this is my understanding of it, I might be wrong about it, but basically when you get an infection through like some kind of open wound in your skin, and it goes underneath the skin, the infection or something like that, that's apparently cellulitis, which is what I had.
Like into the epidermis?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So essentially it was just like take a round of certain antibiotics for that kind of infection, and then take ibuprofen to deal with the swelling. And so I was pretty much done. I'm done with the antibiotics now, and I'm still taking some of the ibuprofen. So that was the lupin pills, for those of you who were not aware of the memes I kept posting around. My antibiotics, which was cephalexin, they came as like green pills that said lupin on them. So I was immediately thinking Lupin the Third, and I'm like, okay, so these pills are turning me into Lupin the Third over time. Great. And
do you feel like a really powerful spy now that you finished the
I feel like I'm ready
round?
to steal several big art like works across the nation.
Hell yeah.
I'm ready to do it, but I gotta be like even more awesome about it. I have to like send them a letter, a handwritten like letter, letting them know that I'm about to steal it, and then there's nothing they can do about it. And then it's just gonna happen. That's usually how those episodes go, right? So this is pretty chill.
I haven't seen Lupin at all, so honestly, listening to this is pretty great.
So I had seen mostly the first season, a little bit of the second season, and then like a movie and like some of the like season 6 or whatever with Shadow, and a lot of it was just him saying, hey, I'm going to steal this thing, and then the big detective who's been hunting him for years is like, we have to do everything we can to catch Lupin this time I'll get him. And then like through him trying to be overly cautious about catching Lupin, he ends up exposing the item so that Lupin could steal it, and then Lupin steals it. And then that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, that tracks.
But yeah, I was just confused about why it had Lupin on it, and it turned out it was just because it was the pharmaceutical company that makes that specific drug. So
that's terrifying. I don't want Lupin in charge of making my.
This is what Big Pharma wants. They want us all to become phantom thieves.
Okay, actually, speaking of anime, did you ever watch Zom 100? Have you done that yet?
I watched. I think me and Shadow saw 6 episodes, and then it went on hiatus. I know it finished. It finished as of like Christmas, but we haven't gone back and finished it yet. But I was gonna bring it up for book club tonight, definitely.
Okay, cool. Because when I was talking about the fact that I was reading this, because I was reading it at work, and I mentioned it to the fact that I was reading it to one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's like the serious version of Zom 100, right?" And I was like, "I don't know, I haven't seen Zom 100."
They're not wrong. There's reasons why. There's the comparisons to it, and I'll explain why in the stream. But it essentially has to deal with the fact that I think Zom 100 is him in like a corporate environment. So it's a lot of, the themes of zombie apocalypse. Most zombie apocalypse manga have some kind of like thematic reason for the zombies, like what they represent or whatever. And in that case, it was like overwork and like the toxic Japanese like work industry. And I think specifically he was supposed to be working for an anime production company, but I'm not sure about that. But the general thing with him was he's a worker, and like the zombie apocalypse was happening as a result of like that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of parallels to it. With this one specifically, it's focused on the manga industry, because we have the manga creators, and it's all about like that kind of industry and the like different types of like stress and overwork that's related to all that, at least from the initial volumes. That might shift with how this is going later on, but that's how it is initially, because our main character is a part of the mangaka team. So
mangaka team for Eroge.
Hell yeah, base. Oh boy.
Did Turndo finish sending his message? I have Pokemon TCG ranked.
Yeah, Turndo 6. Turndo 6, so he's not gonna be able to make it tonight. But he said sick at the moment, so have fun. I Am a Hero is an awesome manga. I'll listen in, but not feeling well. So get better, Turndo. Hope things are doing well.
Get better, Turndo. This is a threat. I know where you live.
Oh jeez. Justin also messaged. He said, "I'll be on in a few." Bathroom. I always get a little worried about if Justin's gonna remember to show up. I mean, I understand. Sometimes it's just Justin's not having a good day, like medically with some of the stuff that he's dealing with or whatever. But sometimes he just forgets. So.
I have this in my calendar. It's a big blue section because blue on my calendar is fun. So Thursday nights I have this, and Friday nights I have my own streams.
Oh boy.
Twitch is the Nyan Bacon. Tomorrow we're going to be continuing our Let's Play of Alien Isolation. So join us for that.
Shit. Hell yeah. All right, let's see these chats here. Do we have anybody? We have somebody in the Twitch chat. Oh my god. This deserved an anime TBH. Judging from the first 2 volumes, I definitely think so as well. I mean, I don't know how it goes later on, but I'm surprised because I have definitely heard about people talking about this series like a lot prior to, like, just talking about the fact that it exists prior to reading it. And so I was kind of surprised that something like Zom 100 got an anime before this, but then I realized, you know, popular kind of shonen thing is probably going to get it more so than like a seinen thing like this. I'm assuming this is seinen, but I could be wrong about that.
Bro saying words. I like
Seinen,
your funny words, Magic Man.
seinen is essentially like older, like younger. It's young adult still-ish, I think, but it's like older audience, something like that.
Okay.
Kind of like, you know, josei versus shoujo. Shoujo is like for younger girls, and josei is for like older women. So,
gotcha.
I had told myself I was going to open up the manga and flip through it to give myself a quick refresher before the stream started, and then I've been distracted. So let me do that real quick. From my local video store here, because there were definitely a lot of legal means to read this. I fucking hate you, Dark Horse. I don't know what you did. Why couldn't you just let me read this?
I mean, also with 7 C's.
Oh my god! Like
Familiar Zero, separating it into all of the different
that one
versions.
That one I can at least understand a tiny bit because it's like an older series, but there's no real excuse for I Am a Hero. I'm pretty sure this ended like a couple years ago, unless I'm mistaken. Let me see here.
Time to start playing fucking Pokemon Ranked.
Oh shit!
Because I won't play Fortnite Ranked, but I'll play Pokemon Ranked.
Yeah, I Am a Hero ended in like 2021, so this is like 3 years ago now, as of 4 days ago. Okay.
Damn, I'm playing a real person. That means I'm gonna lose.
A lot of confidence here. Okay.
I forgot to edit my deck. Fuck.
Okay, important things to remember real quick. The main character's name, Hideo, is Hideo Suzuki. Okay, that's a good place to start.
The only character I remember is Teko. I love her.
Oh, yeah. Hideo Suzuki, main character. Crazy mangaka. Manga artist. Has shotgun. I gotta write that note.
Most important thing.
It's a shotgun, right?
Yeah,
I'm not wrong about that? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a single barrel shotgun. Hi. Oh my goodness. I need you to get off my desk.
Oh my god.
I'm worried she's going to step on the keyboard of my laptop, and also she's in way of chat. Jules! No.
Welcome.
Hello!
Welcome. Seems like we're waiting on Justin, and then we should have everybody who I believe is showing up this week. Okay, what else was I going to look at real quick? There's a lot of how many chapters is it? This is like 265 chapters. Oh my god. I definitely understand why Dark Horse went for an omnibus release with this series. I definitely understand that. Oh yeah, and this artist, the author also did Under Ninja. Gotta put that in my notes. Okay.
Jules.
Me too. I agree. Oh, wait, my audio is working on the stream, right? Testing 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Testing. Testing. Me too. I agree. Okay, good. We're good. We are good. Okay. All right. I understand. Naruhodo. Oh yeah, he was doing like some kind of prayer shit at the beginning. What the fuck was that prayer stuff again? It was...
I think he was like trying to protect himself from evil or something.
Yeah, I just remember there was a... I remember there was like a note about it, yeah. Namu Amida Butsu is chanted in order to gain rebirth into the Pure Land after death, the Pure Land being a celestial realm where Buddha lives. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo is chanted in order to attain enlightenment. Also taken more literally, the chanters saying that they are taking refuge in the teachings of Buddhism. I see. So you all remembered the Buddhist prayer for the quiz, right? Of course.
Oh God, fuck, no.
Everybody had 3 weeks to read this, so obviously I wrote up a quiz.
I read it today too.
Okay, let me just check. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, everything is good. Okay, I'm gonna start.
Oh.
Getting this. Welcome.
Whoa.
What's up?
Hello, hello. I am just making sure everything is good to go.
Hello, hello.
Hi, can you hear us? Are you good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can barely hear you now. I heard you before. Talk. You were like a little quiet.
So,
Justin?
yeah, sorry. I couldn't hear shit because of fans.
Is there any way you could turn yourself up on your end? I can barely hear you at 200.
Yeah, one sec.
If you want to sit on the desk, you sit here.
I'll sit on the desk if I want to. You can't tell me what to do.
I'm not saying she can't sit on the desk. She just can't sit on my mouse pad where I'm moving my mouse.
She wants the mouse. Give her the mouse.
How's this?
There you go. Much better.
Okay. My gain knob fell to the side.
Okay, let me Let me post about this and we will officially get started.
Jules.
Did he just talk back to you?
I need to be able to use my mouse. That is all I need in this situation. She keeps like rubbing her face against my hand.
All right. Oh, fucking Discord just crashed on me. Hello, am I here? Am I here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Discord just crashed on me for like 3 seconds out of nowhere. I don't even know if it kicked me out of the call, but... All right, let me... Okay, I have posted... Did I post it here? Are we good? All right, I think we're good. Okay, let's begin. Are we all ready to begin?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take this thing off. All right, welcome everybody back to another exciting week of the Anime Book Club. We're back from our holiday vacation. I think we missed like 2 weeks, maybe it was 3. I don't know, but we're back now. Okay, back for the new year 2024. So this is the first stream of this year, and we're starting off with Justin's pick here, talking about I Am a Hero, specifically the first 2 volumes of it, which we may or may not go back to in the future. We will see. So, our usual guests that we have for this week is these 4. Shadow's not going to be here this week, and Turndo couldn't make it because he's sick. So, this is what we got for this week. But for as far as I know, people will be back next week. We'll see. So, let's go in order before we start talking about the manga. Let's go over each of our speakers here, starting in order as we usually do. Arimia, introduce yourself.
Hi, I like shonen shit.
Wow, based. What's your favorite shonen shit right now? Your absolute favorite. Fired. You're fired. Get out of my office. And then, of course, next up you have me, Chaplain, aka Wolfborg. I talk about anime, and every single opinion that I've ever had about anime, ever, of all time, has always been the correct one. So if you've ever had an old stream of me saying something about anime, you're supposed to copy that, because that's just true. You don't argue against it like the people in my 86 video do. You don't argue against that, okay? All my opinions about it are correct. That's just a fact. And then over here we have Justin. Introduce yourself.
I am Justin. I like to traumatize club members.
Woohoo!
That's it's quite a trait. It's quite a trait. And then we have Nyan Bacon.
Hi, I'm Nan Bacon. I don't have any correct opinions ever unless it's about Familiar of Zero, which we're done talking about. If you want to join me during my streams, which I have Friday nights, an hour or a half hour before this one, you can join me at the Nyan Bacon on Twitch. We're streaming Alien Isolation right now.
Hell yeah. Go check that out. What'd you say it was tomorrow? So go check that out tomorrow over on Twitch. So let's begin talking about I Am a Hero Volumes 1 and 2. What did we think, everybody? Who wants to jump in first on this? Any first impressioners? Justin, you're the one who recommended this. What did you think? Did you didn't actually read these volumes prior to recommending it, right? You just had them, but you hadn't read them yet?
I read more than I thought I did. I think I read the first 2 volumes and stopped there. So I read them again and stopped there again.
Fair enough. So how was it your second time reading it?
I didn't remember because it's been years, but god damn, it's way crazier than I remember it being.
So I think this is a manga that, at least for me, I'd always heard people talk about and heard people recommend, but nobody ever really described it other than like crazy zombie series. And so I haven't really checked it out just because it was always described kind of vaguely. But consuming this was it reminded me of the Flowers of Evil, if you're somebody who's ever read those manga, in terms of like the pacing and the art style. Yep, the art style as well. this was not by the same author, so I don't know if maybe they worked together or something, or if like maybe there was some kind of influence at some point between one or the other. But I definitely kind of felt that kind of similar vibe, especially in terms of the pacing of how this goes. I was telling this to Anne before we started streaming. I was saying how like this is I enjoyed these 2 volumes, but pacing wise, those 2 volumes would be like 1 episode if this was an anime, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just to tell you, if you're going to read this, you're in for more of like a slow kind of burn zombie story. In terms of like, we did see zombies show up, especially towards the 2nd volume, but this is only like this wasn't like something where the zombie apocalypse happens like a couple chapters into the series. It happens towards the end of like volume 2, where like things start actually outbreaking and like everywhere. And even with that, because our main character here is a mentally unwell person, you're not even sure half the time if there is like, if these are actually like zombie like apocalypse things happening at first, because you don't know if half the things that are happening with him are supposed to be real, or if he's like imagining it, or you don't really actually know at first. Towards the 2nd volume, at least for me, it definitely felt like they are really zombies, and the twist then was him being like, I don't know if I'm just like making this up or not. Like he doesn't know if this, like, his girlfriend there is like this zombie who's actively attacking him, and he's treating her like she's just has like a slight little like little disease, something's wacky about her. I don't know what it is. She keeps trying to bite at me, but maybe I should call the authorities or something. I don't know. She keeps trying to jam me into the fucking door and eat me, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. So it was interesting seeing the different reactions that some of these people have to this zombie outbreak. I don't know. How did Anne, how did you feel about this?
I really liked it. I thought that that like beginning bit with the fact that you're not able to really discern between what's real and what's fake. I really like that in manga in particular. It's sometimes a little difficult to get with stuff that's more colored, because a lot of times when you're looking at traditional Western or more colored things, or even like TV shows and actual anime, a lot of times they put in some kind of motif that helps discern the reality from the real from the non-real. And I think that this manga in particular, but manga in general, do a really good job of like not making that as obvious. So I thought that it was really cool to be going into this with that initial sense of paranoia. I wish that it had persisted a little bit more through the start of the zombie apocalypse, unless there's like some plot twist, like fucking summertime rendering at the end, where like, oh, it was actually all a delusion or all a dream or something. I wish that it had persisted a little more, because I think it would have added to that initial start of paranoia, where like you don't know if what you're looking at is zombie, or if it's something that's going to attack him, or if it's not. But I thought that it was a really interesting way to introduce the character, and also I think it's a good way of explaining why he kind of like nervously rambles when he's at his work.
Yeah, I definitely like the first impression when you get reading this one. You go into this manga, even though it doesn't like clearly show that it's about zombie, you see this cover with this guy with the shotgun, and you're like, okay, so this might be some like post-apocalypse thing or whatever. And you go in, maybe somebody told you there's zombies involved, and that whole initial scene where he's like entering the apartment dancing around, I just assumed like the apocalypse had already started and he was like clearing some room for like supplies or whatever, and he was just having fun or whatever. I had also thought that. But yeah, he's just sitting down watching TV pretty much, but he just checks to make sure there's no intruders just out of habit or something like that. And then he's like talking with this person who showed up in this room, and at first you're like, oh, so this is a person who's like scavenging with him, and then you see the same panel where like that guy he's talking to is just not there, and he's responded to, so you're like, oh, so he's not really there. So like our initial scene is just showing us like that he has these paranoia like delusions, and has like this person, I forget this exact person, but some kind of person who he talks to sometimes, and rambles to, and you know,
who disappears later on.
Right, he disappears for a brief time.
What fucking malformed? Because he becomes that weird like foggy ghost version of himself later on, as like he almost seems to be fading out of existence as like the weight of like what's happening is like coming down on the main character. What's his name again?
The main character is Hideo.
Hideo. Okay.
Yeah, Hideo Suzuki. I wrote it down before we started. I wrote Hideo Suzuki, main character, crazy manga artist, has shotgun. Those are my traits.
It's funny because the main character's name is Hideo. I think of Hideo Kojima, so I immediately remember Hideo.
So this is about him. This is about him, I see.
And one of the other characters is Mr. Matani. Like, I used to play EVE Online, and the Matani is like a big character in EVE Online. So it's like it's two characters that I just know the name of. So I'm like, oh, this works.
So I did definitely notice the thing that you mentioned, though, and where like this like delusional person he talks to just kind of disappears for a while. And I was like thinking to myself, like, oh, is this something to where like his body's responding to the zombie apocalypse situation by like he just has so much disillusion for what's going on that even his actual like delusions are not appearing because it can't even fully process this weird fucking thing happening. It like looking like
I thought it was supposed to be like reality and his illusions like blending together, like he can't tell what's what, and that's why his illusions weren't showing up because he can't tell if he's currently in one or not.
Right? Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, it was like doing, you know, I definitely felt that kind of vibe when he suddenly goes to his girlfriend's apartment, and I was like, is he actually going to this girl's apartment, or is this like all an imagined relationship? I'm thinking of like the Joker or whatever in that movie where he just imagines a whole relationship he's having with this girl that's just not real. And then like they greet each other in like some unique ways through like a mail slot and like
through the mail slot. Yeah.
It's an interesting relationship.
And like talking about like, oh, you want to make out through the mail slot? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then like his facial expressions talking with the girlfriend in the apartment where he's just like, oh, like it's just him being genuinely happy with this girl. But like with how it looks for him, it looks like he's just, this is not a real thing that's happening. And this is just like his ideal thing. And he's so happy imagining this ideal thing. But no, it definitely seemed like that was a real relationship, especially when like I thought it was weird the contrast of like, oh, this is a nice relationship, and then she gets drunk and she gets like very like angry drunk at him.
Yeah, she clearly also has issues.
Yeah.
And we had like a flashback thing at some point to how they initially met, and she looks very different to back then. From what I remembered, she like looked completely different, and maybe I don't know, but I felt like it was going to go into more of like that kind of stuff later. But like I said, the first two volumes kind of like a slow paced thing in terms of like some elements of it. But yeah, so we definitely got the setup of like there are things about this person that are mentally unwell, and so you have to follow this story with that kind of thing in consideration as you read it. There's obviously the question of whether or not some things are really happening, but there's also the question of like, is this how a normal person is supposed to, I shouldn't say normal, how the average person is like responding to this situation. Because it's not necessarily something to where you have to be mentally unwell to respond in certain ways with these kind of things. People who are mentally well can respond to things in the same way. It's just that like, you kind of get a different feeling for like who's in control with that, right? Like if you have a delusion telling you that this is what's happening and that you have to do that kind of thing to like address it, that's kind of different than just being an asshole and then doing the thing. Like
I think
what I mean by that is like he has these paranoia delusions, and so like some of that is things where he has to constantly like second guess himself about what's happening before he chooses like, oh, do I have to pull out the shotgun now? Is somebody about to come in my door? Versus when he meets up with his coworker later and you find out his coworker, who supposedly was one of like the ones without these mental problems, has been like stalking and like looking into the relationships of everybody in the office and just murdered like 3 of them before he even knew a zombie apocalypse was happening.
Well, no, the thing, he like, well, there's a thing there where he was like two of them had already been infected, and then the main character is like, Wait,
What
wasn't
about
it
the third
3?
one? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's an implication there that he totally
Yeah.
murdered one of them.
Yeah, because the way he was talking about it too, he was like, "Yeah, I've been reading her diary." Somebody was like reading her diary, and he's like, "I found out that they've been fucking for months or whatever. She was staying overnight here, fucking for months." And like, he's like, "Yeah, I fucking hate them." So I finally got the chance to kill them. Was kind of like the attitude. He was like, "I finally had an excuse to kill him," and then he just killed the third one. The implication being like he wasn't infected at all. He just felt like doing it. So it's like, but that whole fight scene was also, he meets up with his coworker, and you think, oh, these two are going to be like the team or whatever. And he's got the shotgun, so he can deal with some of these things. He's not using the shot. He's actually like not rushing to use the shotgun at all. He's like scared of what's going on. He's reacting more appropriately than that other person probably would, where he's like, I'm like frozen with what's happening, or I'd rather run from this kind of thing, or hide from this kind of thing, or this is what is going on with this person is obviously sick in some way. We should restrain them and call the authorities or something, like he was trying to do with his girlfriend, where like the other dude's just like, gotta kill him, gotta get rid of him, gotta get him out of here.
They're fucking dead.
I did want to say that despite the main character having a clear mental issue, that he seems to have a lot of moments so far that is a good depiction of what a normal person would go through in like a sudden zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
A surprising amount of clarity.
Yeah, that's definitely the kind of idea I had. Again, in terms of like the delusion disappearing for a while, that's where I kind of also thought of like the clarity coming to him is because of like he's so shocked by what's happening that like a lot of his paranoia tendencies just kind of went into the backside of his mind for a while it's trying to process all this other shit, because it's just so like it's so out there that his mind couldn't even comprehend it and things like that. So yeah. Aramia, how did you feel? What were your thoughts overall?
Well, about that kind of part, I will say I was surprised that they didn't go the sort of, I guess, tropey genre-aware kind of angle, because he is such an otaku, he is such a nerd, that I was surprised that they didn't have even, like, I didn't see any moments, at least, where he was like, wait a second, are those zombies?
Right.
People are getting bitten. They're kind of attacking like zombies, Like, I was surprised that there was no kind of like, wait, am I in a zombie movie,
Yeah, it was definitely the kind of story where they've never heard of this concept before, one of those kind of deals. So like, because you're right, I don't think there was any mention or reference to existing zombie stuff either, at least not from him, to where like he's not even familiar with this as a concept that can happen. That's why he was like so more worried about like calling for help for her, like medical help for her, while she's trying to kill him through the door. So
because and looking absolutely horrid, like
Yeah.
For such a very clearly mentally unhinged guy, he had so much clarity in those moments, like too much. It got him bit.
Yeah, and like
without teeth.
Without teeth, yes, which saved him. I was worried about that. I was like, oh, he just got bit, but I was like, oh, her teeth are gone because her teeth are gone. So it's been a couple of weeks since I read it because we initially read. Remind me how she lost the teeth. Was it that she did something to?
She bit the door.
I remember she bit the door. Okay, because I was trying to remember.
And it like totally broke her teeth out of their gums.
Right, because I had remembered that she had bit the door, but I had thought I had also remembered that she was doing, like, she knew something was going on with her body prior to it taking over or something, or maybe I was thinking of something. But I thought there was something she was doing.
There was a note where she wrote that if I die without makeup, please don't look at me.
Oh, that was it. Okay, I remember.
So clearly she knew something was going on, and she's saying "love you" or something while she's like as a zombie clamping down on the door. So yeah, I think she had like, it seems like the zombies seem to have like some sort of humanity to like what they were doing recently, or like, they're like saying like, oh, give me liquor or pay rent money, like they're like very base, like mentally, but like there's still some connection there. So it seems like whatever connection she had, she clamped down on the door on purpose.
Right. Yeah, I was talking with this a little bit before the stream too. A lot of zombie media, at least that I'm consumed, you know, they tend to have some kind of thematic connection with the zombies. Usually it's consumerism and that kind of stuff is tied into the theme, or like capitalism kind of messages. Me and Justin went to famously to see a very funny zombie comedy movie called what was it called?
Fuck, I don't even. This isn't gonna end well or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's the one that says I don't think it's gonna end well. I think Red Letter Media talked about it at some point too. It was I can't remember something
it was
of the
awful.
Dead.
It was really bad.
It was essentially supposed to be like a zombie comedy thing with Adam Driver, and that one's theme was like the ecosystem stuff, or because it kept mentioning things about like the ice caps. It kept mentioning things about the ice caps. We only remember two things about it. I remember Adam Driver being there saying, I don't think it's going to end well. I read the script, and he physically pulls out the script. And then I just
remember Woo PS.
Woo PS was like the funniest joke in that movie. They're like,
it was the only funny joke.
They're like, okay, I got a package delivered from Woo PS, and it was, who was it from the Wu-Tang Clan that delivered?
It was Rizzo. It was RZA from Wu-Tang Clan.
He walks
in,
out
of UPS truck, but there's like the Wu-Tang W before, and it's Woo PS.
So, yeah,
that was the only good joke.
So
that's the only good joke that whole movie.
I mean, that movie was as well also talking about like consumerism kind of stuff like throughout it. But Zom 100 was one that was compared with this one a bit. That one's more of like a shonen, more of like a fun kind of thing, where that one's also focused on overwork in the Japanese like business side. And I think Zom 100 was I think his job was something to do with the anime industry, like maybe an anime production company. I'm not sure, but this one specifically, at least in the start, is focused on the manga industry. Our main character is a manga artist working as an assistant for this group here. And what were they making? They were making like Arrow manga or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And so like they're just coming into the office and working on their stuff. They have a TV going. All these people are having different conversations. He talks to himself sometimes in the middle of the office, and then they say, hey, shut the fuck up or whatever to him. And sometimes they're just rambling to each other about things related to the industry, like this kind of thing. Things were better with 90s and like things like that, that kind of vein. And they just have these kind of like rants and rambles to each other, which like a lot of it was the characters trying to feel more like an expert in certain things they're talking about than they ever should be in certain ways with how they were talking about it. But it definitely felt like the kind of, you know, conversations that I think a group of people might just shoot the shit and have while they're just kind of working on something together in that kind of like space. And the fact that they have to work a shit ton to get like these kind of pages out, like a big theme that's happening with this character throughout a lot of the beginning of this is comparing himself with this other manga artist who's the ex of his current girlfriend, and how his works are like really, really good and really great, and his girlfriend has like all of his works, and I think he like barely has like his works or something like that, or like he doesn't have enough published for her to be like collecting it as much and stuff like that. But like meanwhile the dude's like pretty chill with the main character. Like he's like actively like, hey, I can help promote you this, and we could do a thing together. You want to come in my limo with me? I'm doing this thing or whatever. Like the other guy is like this weirdo savant manga artist or whatever, where like a lot of the editors there are like, well, it's the weird ones like that usually end up blowing up, so this is why we support those. So.
Yeah, he was like, well, it's the weird ones who have interesting stories.
Yeah,
like the whole thing was when he's getting rejected by that pitch is like about telling interesting stories.
Yeah, and it's constantly like he's like the main character, you feel like he's like, I fucking hate that guy, I'm kind of jealous of him, but when I read his stuff, it's just so good, I can't deny it. It's fucking good.
Can we also point out that his manga was called Uncut Penis?
Is that what it was called? I didn't remember that at all. Jesus.
Yeah, at least in the physical translation, his manga, the main character's manga, is called Uncut Penis.
Oh, okay.
2 volumes.
I see. So yeah, I forget. So the main character goes into this place to like trying to get it approved. And it was like a food manga, and it sounded like he was not at all like fully interested in the topic. He was more promoting it because he thought it would be the easiest way to eventually get an anime adaptation or something like that, or like some kind of cute way to get published.
Like merchandising and not a story.
yeah. And like the other guy showed up, he was like, "What are you talking about? This is actually really fucking good. You just don't see the vision or whatever." He seemed like more of the kind of dude who's like, "I don't really understand the business stuff. I just kind of want interesting stories to be put out there." And he had like his own little like feedback to give him later about like what he could do with the story maybe. And it's like he's jealous of that other dude, but like, you know, there's still that kind of respect between them. And I can imagine it's frustrating being in that manga industry and, you know, wanting to actively like seeing other people that you've worked with or like that even like praise your work, but meanwhile like their stuff is like going all the way to the moon and your stuff's like being barely recognized and you're trying to do whatever you can to try to get it recognized. I imagine it's like a very frustrating ordeal, especially as like an artist in general, where you're like trying to find ways to make money that aren't just going to murder you from overwork doing like assistant work and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's very much diving into the manga industry problems towards the beginning. Not so much to the degree of like industry problems. I mean, a little bit in terms of like the fact that they have to overwork some nights, but like they pretty much just cut to the end of a lot of those. More so in terms of the kind of creative stress and like pressure to be successful that it creates, especially in terms of the fact that like to get serialized, it has to be a series that's going to like work for a long time. And like, you do have to think ahead in some ways about like how it is going to like work, not just in terms of an interesting idea, but in terms of like a long lasting idea that people will read. Not just something that you're going to try to sell merch of, but you know, and it is, you know, also poking into the idea of like sometimes the really fucking weird authors are the ones that blow up, and they're not, sometimes, most of the time at least, they're not bad people, they're just very weird. But it makes it frustrating for the ones who like are probably more traditional with like trying to take their approaches to this kind of stuff, because it also instills the message of, oh, I have to be as weird as that person in order for my works to like suddenly start getting recognized. I gotta get weirder with it, or what, I don't know. I don't know. I enjoyed the look into the manga industry itself that the manga was presenting from the perspective of this like semi-failed author. I don't really want to call him a failed author because he is still working in the industry, but it's more like he can't like debut officially.
Well, he did get a serialization that ended after 6 months, and he got knocked back down to just being an assistant, and now the world's ending, so I don't know. I think he is a failed author.
Well, I mean, in terms of like everything ending, sure, but like, you know what I mean, where like, sure, he had a serialization, it was a very short run, and it did not give him the popularity that he thought it would like bring along with it. And meanwhile, he has to watch this other dude just almost effortlessly to him be good constantly. And there's also the implication of like, this person is also my girlfriend's ex, and she's still in contact with him. Does she still have feelings for him? Like, that's a thing that's constantly in his mind. And there's like drunken conversations related to that. And he has drunken rants as well related to like not wanting to like be a loser with his manga publication. Like, he doesn't want to just be a nobody, essentially. It was how I felt a lot of his rambles were when he was drunk. So, oh, we got a message in chat. I missed none. Oh my god, it's been ages. Hey, I saw the book club. I have quite a bit to go through, but love this manga and hope everyone is having a great or a good New Year. 100 cat emoji. Thank you so much, Emits.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year to everybody. Hope your holidays were okay, tolerable, better than mine.
tolerable, I guess, is the word I would put to getting cellulitis in my foot. I guess tolerable.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yes, Happy New Year, everybody. So, yeah, I mean, that was like a lot of my thoughts with the manga industry kind of angle. What did you guys think about the manga industry angle that this was presenting?
Well, the author had a couple manga before I Am a Hero, but I think I Am a Hero was his big one. So there's probably some resentment baked in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I did notice a theme because I looked at what his previous works were before stream. So he did a series about a dead-end office worker who would eventually become a boxer called Boys on the Run. I think he's currently doing Under Ninja, or he recently finished Under Ninja. And then I think his first one was something about another dead-end like job dude who became obsessed with virtual Bishoujo games, and he was basically like a middle-aged loser who like spent hundreds of dollars on equipment to see a virtual girlfriend, essentially. So there's like a theme in like some of his works where they're like dead-end job characters, mostly losers in some way, and like some kind of like focus for them related to like them to address their kind of like loser behaviors in like some kind of way, where like a lot of them are dealing also with the fact that they're dead-end job characters, and it's a big question of like, you know, this feels like a cycle where nothing's really happening and stuff. And his manga job in this essentially feels like a dead-end job, even though like he has opportunities to pitch his stuff, but it come across like he's never gonna become the big serialized author that he wants to be. Like, he's been serialized, but it didn't like blow up. I mean, listen. I personally would not give a shit.
I didn't need the world to fucking end to know his career was over, dude.
Listen.
Damn.
Yeah, listen. He's doing his best, all right? He's doing his best with his shotgun. Don't fuck with him, all right? He's got a shotgun. By the way, the shotgun. We have not mentioned the shotgun. The shotgun is not just something where he's like, oh, he's a person with the gun. It's unique with Japan. There's not many people in Japan who have guns. It's not like America, okay, where in some areas people can get guns pretty easily. Over there in Japan, it's pretty
this is
fucking
America,
hard.
Where every paranoid schizophrenic has a shotgun.
I didn't even know that you could have shotguns in Japan. Like,
yeah.
He says he has a permit for it. I'm like, what? Is this fake? Like,
a lot of countries that you don't think you could, you can, but it's extremely limited and controlled.
Yeah.
And also, y'all gave it to this guy?
Yeah, I don't know what sort of test that they do for it, but he specifically got so the shotgun that he has, from what I understand, he's allowed to have it as long as he's a part of this rifle association or something like that, right? A part of this like gun club or whatever. Because there was a part where he was saying like, oh, I have to renew my license to the thing. This is why he was carrying his gun when he was walking around when the zombie apocalypse pretty much started. He was going to that kind of event or something.
It's probably like exclusively for sporting and nothing else.
Right.
It's probably one of those.
That was my assumption
with that. Really hardcore and they inspect it and shit.
Which is like pretty useful when the world is going to shit, at least. But yeah, you know, I don't know what sort of tests they do to get that, or if they're more chill about it, if it's just for like a sporting thing. But yeah, he's walking around for quite a while with his shotgun, and then he never actually pulls it out until like the end of the second volume. You know, that's where people are starting to realize, because there's a lag in information. Which makes a lot of sense because of how it would work in the real world. I thought it was very realistic.
No, they had several days where people were like, people are getting bitten. People are going.
It was only like
hold on. Well, hold on now.
It was still like a couple of days.
Hold on now. People getting bitten and talking about an infection going around is a lot different than these people that are bitten are now like violently attacking everybody and killing them and infecting other people. Very different, okay? Let's not just assume, oh, because people heard that people were biting each other. That means that nobody, including this guy, could comprehend the idea of a zombie like invasion. Nobody could comprehend that idea. Is that something that we
know, though? Like, do we know that they just have no zombie media in this world?
judging by the fact that he had no concept of this when his girlfriend was very much a zombie in front of him, and everybody was walking around the street being like, hey, what's going on, buddy? And then getting attacked by them, probably not. At least from what I felt, it felt like nobody had an idea of this concept. That's why they were like walking around the streets being like, hey, what's going on, Rick? And then Rick just fucking eats their throat. Things like that. And I was just like, it takes them a while to realize what's going on. And like by the time we get to the train scene towards the end, where he's like, I understand what's happening now, so I have my shotgun out. These people don't understand what's happening yet. So like, for what they would understand, they would just be seeing like people acting weird and then this other person pulling out a gun. So I don't know.
So I did a quick Google search, and Japan's gun laws are extremely strict and strictly forbid anyone with mental illness from even trying, basically.
I don't know how he got it there.
Okay, sure. You can bypass that if you don't get like tested.
Yeah, but it's like extremely few people get.
I would
past
think that
the
they
first
would
place.
have more. I would think they would have ways of like.
It's extremely rare to
limit it.
pass. Like
Well,
you have to do psych tests as part of your screening.
Well, so with him, there's always the question of, does he actually have this gun, or is he like delusioning himself into thinking he has this gun? Because
I don't think it's that much. You probably have to read more, but
that's what I'm saying.
Figure he has the gun.
Because I read a couple more chapters into like the next one. I didn't read a lot of it, but it seemed like nobody reacted to the shotgun. So I don't know. Like not reacted like to it as much as you'd imagine for people who would not be used to people pulling fucking guns in there. But I don't know. Like I said, it might be something to where like you have to read more of it. But it could be that kind of angle too, where it turns out like he doesn't actually have this shotgun, and that I don't know. I'm just posing it as a theory. He could still have the shotgun, and like that is a thing. But like you were saying, if he's supposed to pass some kind of psychological test to be a part of this rifle club and have this this gun,
yeah, apparently the police like do a full background check, like drug psych tests at hospitals. They like check your personal relationships to see if you have any kind of connection with crime whatsoever. Apparently, 87,000 people in Japan still have a gun permit, though.
Well, I don't know. It definitely sounds like it's supposed to be very difficult. I mean, the main purpose of it, regardless of how he gets the shotgun, is to establish to us as the reader that this person specifically has a shotgun. He got it in some kind of way, and he's one of the very few people who actually has one in this situation, which is obviously gonna play a pretty big role once they fully comprehend what is happening with this situation. Yeah, because like people were getting bitten, but like they weren't like fully turning for like days. That's why like in the manga office you had the that one woman that was sleeping with the manga author, who was actually just dead in the shower for like days or something like that. It looked like she was like stabbed in the stomach with like a knife over things.
Yeah, I think what happened was the first couple days people getting bit, and then everyone started turning roughly like
all at like the
close
same
to
time.
the same period. Yeah, because all the bites going around. It's like in waves or something. Like the first wave went unnoticed, and the second wave's the big one.
Because I remembered seeing like the scenes of Hideo just I forget if he was biking or walking or something, but he was like out and about in the city towards the end of volume 2, walking around, seeing all these other people getting fucked up by these other zombies. He's not doing anything to intervene because he understands what these fucking things are in some kind of way. And it looks like the outbreak is happening. And then he kind of steps into a train, and it feels like the entire like, it feels like a haven almost, like completely different from what was going on outside. Like none of these people have any kind of idea that this is happening yet. And then it starts happening.
That was interesting. Was there ever a confirmation on like what time period this took place in?
I don't remember
any indication, because number one, people are on flip phones, and number two, I agree with Ari that it wouldn't make sense in modern day that that information was spreading as slowly as it is. But I think that this is supposed to be taking place back like before social media was a thing, so like 07, 06.
Keep in mind that flip phones are still pretty popular over there. Like they have a lot better flip phones than ever came to America.
Right.
That's
Well,
So this is probably around 2010-ish, which is
So
when
the-
it was published.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is supposed to be
the
like
original run was
2009,
to 09. Yeah, so
Okay. All I remember was that Chap had said that it finished a couple of years ago.
yeah, it finished
so.
It finished pretty recently, 2021, like the
It
end
was-
of 2021. So
well, according to Wikipedia, it says the original run was 09 to 2017,
27. Wait,
and then
is the annual list wrong? Because I see it says it ends in 2021. I don't know. Either way, so it ended fairly recently still, because I
New
still consider
epilogue
2017 to be-
chapter.
Oh, I see. All right, so the main story ends in 2017, and then you had an epilogue in 2021, something like that. Okay, all right, I understand. Okay, I mean, but still, you know, that all I was pretty much just saying was that this isn't something that like started in 09 and like ended in like 2012. Like this is still within the past decade ish, like something like that. To where like when it ends, but the length, because there's like 265 chapters total. It's like 22 volumes long. Dark Horse chose an omnibus release for this, for the English version, and I understand it now that we've read the first 2 volumes and we see like how much of the story has progressed in these 2 volumes, because like we're like just at the beginning of the zombie apocalypse, whereas like most other zombie series usually start the zombie apocalypse like 1 or 2 chapters in. So yeah.
the other thing I thought was funny was that I own a couple series by Dark Horse. This is the one the only one I have that isn't plastic wrapped when you buy it. I have way milder shit on this bookshelf that's plastic wrapped when you buy it, and I was like, when Chap was like, "Oh yeah, it seemed like how Shadow thought it was kind of intense." I was like, "It's not even plastic wrapped. How bad could it be?" Literally what I
mean,
think
that's
I
a
said out
fair
loud.
scale, I feel like.
And then I was reading, I'm like, why aren't these plastic wrapped?
I don't know. Maybe the plastic wrap only really cares about any like sexual violence kind of stuff, which, from what I can tell from the tags of the series, probably happens later. But I don't know for sure.
From the covers, I think it might happen later.
I don't know what the other covers look like, but yeah.
There's some questionable shit on these covers. Anyway.
But what else?
The
do we have
art's
to say?
horrifying. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I have another thing to say. So the double page art sections in person, like on the physical copy, when she's like sitting up out of bed and then crawling towards the door,
Oh yeah.
is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like
I
in
thought-
person. Yeah, go ahead.
I loved those. Obviously I didn't see them in person, but they're such like good panels. And it's such like horrific like movements.
Yeah, just looking at the side of the book, you just see these black sections. And it's like it's this fucking double-sided one, so the entire thing's just blacked out, and it's horrifying.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And to where somebody in one of the chat, I think it was the Twitch chat or whatever, said that they're surprised at what hadn't gotten an anime yet, or like they thought it should have gotten an anime so far. I do agree that I feel like this would be pretty interesting as an anime, but I also get very hesitant in terms of horror anime adaptations today. I don't know what it is, but most of the anime horror adaptations are just not very good in some ways. Or
also, is it just... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you go.
I was gonna say, does the anime industry just fuck up seinen constantly? Because like I can't think of seinen adaptations that don't like go to shit at some point, like Berserk and Overlord, and like I'm just trying to think.
I don't know. I wouldn't know examples off the top of my head of seinen stuff, but I do know like for some reason horror stuff is hard for them to adapt in some way, because I do like we see this constantly with Junji Ito's like adaptations, the anime adaptations that happens with a lot of those. They're not great, but you read the mangas and the mangas are fucking horrifying and like amazing.
I think the horror is very art dependent is the
Yeah.
issue, and a weekly thing you just can't.
Yeah.
Like maybe at a limited Blu-ray release where they have more time to like fix the animation, but like when you're on a tight schedule, I don't think you can get it across as easily.
Well, so part of me wonders, and again, this is a difference between Western versus like Japanese, or like American versus Japanese animation. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But I wonder if it's because so many industries perceive animation as something that is supposed to be geared towards children, or it's something that's supposed to be pretty shallow, it's supposed to be entertaining for kids, that they don't have systems that are set up to be producing horror anime for older audiences, because most people assume that it's going to be kids that are watching it, so they go into it with a mindset of we have to advertise this towards kids. I don't know though. I just know that that's a lot of what we've been running into at Disney lately, is that it's not seen as a form of media that adults are supposed to consume. So you don't get a whole lot of cartoons that are designed for adults. And anime is in essence Japanese cartoons. So I don't know if that philosophy applies though.
That's more of a Western issue. Like in Japan, there's anime for every age group. The the kiddie ones that gets all the merch and stuff, but like it's
the reason why I feel there's a lot more shonen adaptations that do really well as opposed to like seinen stuff is mostly because they know those will make more money. They just know the audience is bigger. They know they're going to make more money off the merch and stuff and all the sale. Like, so they know that that's the bigger audience. You make it flashy
and they will come.
Right. I think though, at the same time, like just how much the anime industry is spreading, and as the a larger audience ages along with it, we're gonna get more adult themed shit.
I hope so, because I'm getting older. So
already a lot of adults.
Yeah,
shit, but it's just horror specifically feels very hit or miss.
It's mostly miss. I can't think of any good horror.
I still want to watch Miruko-chan.
That one is a kind of mixed thing in some way. You'd probably enjoy it, but I'll explain why some other time. I don't really know if I want to get into it now. But I do want to say regarding horror media, and especially like when it comes to anime adaptations of horror manga, horror stuff, in my opinion, like the medium will dictate how you express or like trigger somebody's sense of like fear and horror and like the moods that you're supposed to feel, right? Like if you have something like a horror movie, you're going to have very different things you're going to implement in the horror movie as opposed to a horror video game, right? Like you look at Hideo Kojima's like PT or whatever, like that one's doing things with like the controller where it's like trying to sense like the noise that you're making to do weird things in the game too, and like the choices you make of like where you're looking and things, you know, where like you have a direct choice. Whereas with manga, you have the specific paneling and the 2-page spread you can occasionally do things for, and the fact that the reader has to turn the page is like a physical like thing that they have to do to progress the story, and they have to look in certain places to like see certain text so they can guide your eyes with that. When you change it to anime specifically, some of these things that trigger fear because they're not meant to be in motion, you're meant to like see it paneled in certain ways. You kind of either misdirect or like kind of deflate the original intent of that kind of horror vibe you were supposed to feel, like the fear you were supposed to feel, or the tone, by the change in medium. Is always kind of how I saw it, which is why like a lot of the stuff kind of felt weird. And I definitely feel like that's probably the main case with what goes on with Junji Ito's horror stuff. A lot of it is more just like the horror in like the paneling and like trying to comprehend what's going on and like trying to progress the story, knowing that like the next page is probably going to look even more fucking disgusting than the last page. So like you have to have the physical thing of like going to the next page. Whereas like with the anime, it's like, you know, you're sitting back, you're watching it, and they have to like assume certain motions with these like faces or creatures or whatever kind of medium is going on, where like it was not originally there. And
well,
there's different kind of senses you have to account for in terms of that. I don't know if that makes sense.
I would also add that I think with something that is as visceral as body horror that you get with the like zombies and stuff, and also thinking about the fact that the art style is so reminiscent of like way more realistic than a lot of other anime, I almost wonder if maybe it would be better, I say this lightly, as a live action adaptation, because then you're not trying to, like with that panel that Justin, I forgot your name for a second. That panel that Justin was talking about, where it's that grotesque movement. When you're working with anime, a lot of or animation in general, one of the big like principles of animation is like emphasis and stuff, and like over exaggerating in order to get that like squash and stretch and stuff. So I think that in an anime setting, you wouldn't be able to get that horrific sense of movement. Or convey that moment of horror, as well as if it was a live action thing and suddenly you get that like weird like scuttling or like inhuman movement and you're seeing it in 3D like on a person and you realize, holy fuck, that's not supposed to be happening.
So they did a live action. I don't know if it's any good though.
I mean, I
yeah.
just think like comparison from animation to live action, this in particular with the sense of body horror and that type of suspension, I think would be a better medium to convey it through than animation.
It might be.
Just seeing the trailer really quick, it kind of looks like a comedy, but I don't know what they're saying. So
Listen,
it's cut like a comedy.
Listen, our initial scene with him going into the room looking like he's posing around dancing, I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know. There were parts of this manga that I did think were like funny, and then like you also had the like, unease of what was going on. All his like weird faces when he was hanging with his girlfriend, where he's just genuinely happy, but I'm just looking at him like, look
or
at this
even at
fucking
his job when
face.
he was like holding the pen like between his nose and his lips. And I sent a message in the Discord about how I really liked it because honestly, I was into it for all of the shit that he was saying about the manga industry and like his philosophy about like good manga. I thought that was interesting. Not comedic, but like in terms of the mixture of like tones and stuff as we were starting with the story.
Yeah. And I will also say it might be better as a live action in terms of like what you were saying. There's also always the concern when you convert anime or manga to live action, where again the difference in mediums means different things are conveyed. Like there's a reason why a lot of live action anime doesn't work well, and it's not just because of the writing; it's also because of like different expressions or like different like ways that characters are able to interact and move and stuff. Are things that you can only really do in like animated mediums if you're having them move, as opposed to like a real person moving in certain, unless they're like 3D CGI like characters that are next to real people or something like that.
Oh yeah, X-Arm is so realistic.
Listen, that's not live action. Don't worry. Listen,
it should be
most realistic animation. That's what he said in the interview, right?
Listen, maybe it would have worked better if they had made that live action. I don't know. Listen, if that limo company wants to work with me to launder some more money, I mean, you know, make a live action production, we can do that. They can get in contact.
Can you get an A24 production of X-Arm, actually?
Bro, that actually sounds awesome. If you have A24 involved, listen, hold up. I got to call Netflix real quick and get us a deal. I'll work it all out. But yeah. Really interesting ideas in terms of like, you know, things that could potentially only work with this kind of medium for like what it's doing, especially the fact that it is commenting on the manga industry. You know, this is something to where like that's a big theme with it. But I kind of wondered if like some decisions towards like how some of the pacing things were done with this and like the initial shot of it was like supposed to be like symbolically based on like the industry or whatever. Like when you go into the industry, you're thinking like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna like get into. I'm really excited to like do some awesome stuff or whatever. And then like you have the phase where he has like the delusions where you're like, oh, maybe this is gonna work for me. I'm like talking to these people about it, and then it's like none of it's real. It's like your success also isn't real. So there were parts of me that were wondering if there was supposed to also be symbolic connection between his relationship with these people and how somebody would like experience the manga industry themselves. But I didn't know if maybe I was just kind of overthinking it with some of those kind of things. But yeah, that was like something that I had. Amos Nunn is also sending more messages in the chat. What do we got here? We got, we had somebody else. Neon showed up at some point and they said, I liked I Am a Hero, but I thought the ending was really shit. Well, we've only read the first 2 volumes, so I have no idea.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Maybe it is shit. I don't know. Admis Nunn said, I might have to agree also. I don't know exactly about what, but they said, like a Last of Us style. Okay, so they're talking about in terms of live action. I will say, I did watch The Last of Us live action. That was fucking pretty awesome. That was really good. I don't know how exactly it compares to all of the game, because I think I played like half of the game. So maybe, I don't know with the later on stuff, but what else did you say?
So I can say season 1 compared to the first game was like they took some liberties like compared to like it was really good. It was really fucking good.
Okay.
It was phenomenally done still.
And then he also said, I think it reminded me of Zom 100 in terms of views on the white collar job existentialism. Definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. And then they said, like how in the US there were the lame dude movies like Fight Club and The Matrix. Yeah, I can definitely understand that, where, you know, like I said.
Oh no, the American Isekai.
The American Isekai. Here we go. I
Matrix
mean, yeah.
would be a reverse Isekai, actually. They're coming out of the simulation. Sorry.
True. Listen. Let him cook. We're cooking.
You know, he's
here.
coming out. He's deleting his RPGs. Going back to the real world.
You were banned for spreading misinformation and lies.
Listen.
What is the Matrix but alien mandated LARPing?
It's an analogy for being trans, isn't it?
To manga.
Is it an analogy for being trans?
Yes.
I haven't seen the Matrix in.
No, isn't that the whole thing? Am I making
Yeah,
it
that-
wrong?
No, that's literally.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, it's supposed to be a big thing like that.
Anyway, now that everybody has their attention on me, I'd like to say something completely inconsequential.
Yeah.
I wasn't hungry at the start of stream, but
Oh
I
my
was
God.
now. So today's stream snack was 4 Quaker's Chewy granola bars, 2 chocolate chip, and 2
Based.
chocolate chip peanut butter. In my defense,
Based.
I moved back onto campus Tuesday afternoon, and I haven't done my grocery shopping for the semester yet. So I'm living on the dredges of what I had left over that didn't go bad over the winter break.
Damn.
Oh boy.
That's all.
I do not have a stream snack. I forgot to get a Klondike bar, but I'll probably be getting one after the stream's done. So I'll be
What
getting a
would
Klondike
you
bar.
do for a Klondike bar?
I would go upstairs, open my
Talk
freezer,
about-
and then get it.
Talk about mangas for 2 hours every week. In exchange for a Klondike bar. It's like a reward.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Jules. Sorry.
4 bars of our founding fathers. Okay. All right. What else do we have to say about I Am a Hero? Does anybody else have any topics or whatever they want to bring up related to this?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
What do you got?
I love Tekko, okay? I don't cry, or I try not to cry when I'm reading. Number 1, because I think crying is stupid and I'm not a crier. And number 2, because I was reading this at work. Did not want to be crying for no reason in front of my coworkers. But oh my fucking God. The part where Tekko was like not only when she said like I love you for the first time, I thought it was okay, hold on, let me backtrack. I thought it was so interesting that the fat coworker who died, so obviously I don't need to remember what his name was talking about the fact that he and Hideo were like they didn't have girlfriends. And I thought that it was really weird that he was saying that, because in my head, I had already assumed that Hideo and Tekko were like an item. And then I realized when Tekko sent him that message that was like, hey, like, I'm not feeling well. I won't be able to see you. I love you. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it's entirely possible that they hadn't been dating up to this point and they were just kind of like friends with benefits. And then this was the first time where he was like, oh my gosh, like, she actually cares about me. Even though this isn't what I meant, she was willing to throw out those manga of the guy that I was jealous of. Like, she listened to my feelings. Not only did she listen to my feelings, but he was comfortable enough with her to actually communicate those with her. And then the part where she's like her zombie form and she's taking her teeth out because she knows that she's going to kill him. Like, her last message to him was, I love you. The fact that like she was saying I love you as a zombie to him, and like I think that it might have been the panic, or maybe it was because of how she was saying it but she missed it. I felt so fucking bad for her because like obviously she cared about him. She was willing to put in all this effort to this relationship. She was willing to do that. Like, I'm listening to you, I hear your feelings, and she didn't get to fucking see that to fruition. And because she was like already like she was dead. There was the whole thing about the fact that she was dead, but like still in her head she was like, I have to protect this man that I love. And yet she was never able to communicate that to him, and he had to kill her. I was devastated. Like, obviously I knew it was coming because zombie story cliches, but I was so sad for her. At this point, I don't care about the main character. I just wanted Teko to be able to tell her that she loved him, like, face to face before she had to succumb. And he just like he got it through a texture, but he just like never got it. He never really got that message. And that made me sad.
Like pickled daikon.
What?
Oh, there's a scene right at the end of Volume 2 where he's thinking about what he had to do, and he can't believe that he had to cut Tekka's throat, and he's not sure if it was real or not, and he talks about how it's like cutting pickled daikon.
I completely forgot about that.
But yeah, I teared up a bit of that section. That was fucking rough.
That was so rough.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, I did too. Because, you know, like I said, my initial like concern was like, oh, okay, this sudden relationship that he has with this person, is this a real thing? Because up to this point, we've been told that this is a person with delusional tendencies, and now all of a sudden he's like having these like overly expressive faces towards her, and then like it definitely felt more real, and then you start to feel bad about like what's like, you know, with what's going on with her towards the end. And yeah, I do agree. I agree. I don't know how much more I have to add to it. I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think man, I don't know. So her death scene, I remember her death scene because it was very, you know, emotional. And then I also remember the like, he meets up with the other guy from his office who had just like killed two of them who were zombies and a third who was probably not a zombie. And they're like running off together, and it seemed like this other guy was going to be like the guy, and he was just going to kind of like follow him or whatever. And then he gets like pretty much, what was it? It was something like he was getting bitten, and then a plane crashed into him too.
Yeah, a plane crashed. Like the wheels.
The wheels of the plane took his head off, and that part I wasn't sure if that was real or not.
Yeah,
I think it was like, supposed to be real, but I was still not sure at that point.
I was like, that's so over the top, and like
because we just he just stops as he's getting bit, and then starts having a conversation with like, I've never felt more alive, and then gets his head taken off.
Gets his head taken off. I could see that being a delusion.
Yeah, I thought some of that was a delusion. Like he just couldn't handle seeing his coworker getting eaten alive in front of him, so he just like.
Personally, I'm glad that he's fucking dead. I if we had been like, hey, we're gonna keep reading this, but it had to be the two of them, I would have been like, nah, Chief, I hate this side character too much to read a manga where he's a main character.
I think they made him that hateable on purpose, but
I was hoping that if they did have to keep him along the ride with Hideo, I was hoping at some point he was gonna like fuck around with Hideo too far, and then Hideo was gonna have to like choose to kill him or something. He was gonna do something worse to somebody else. I thought it was gonna be something like that. But either way, I was glad that we got rid of that guy. Fuck that guy. But like also, it, you know, the story's kind of making you feel bad, like not like that guy. Because like all of a sudden he's just like, I've been, let me tell you, Hideo, I figured it all out, okay? I've been stalking her diary for like months, so I know that she's been fucking the manga author all this time. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you talking? Hold on, slow down. I understand you stopped the zombies, but you did what before this? You did, what was that? Can we back up a bit? What? And he basically sounded like he hated fucking everybody there, and that he thought Hideo was weird, but at least Hideo was like not a zombie at the time. He didn't like completely hate him or something. So he was straight up gonna murder and do bad things to his coworker there. Like, if the story continued without the zombies. Yeah.
Like, that was scary. What he thought he was already doing before that shit started.
Yeah. So what else do we have? Do we have anything else we want to add to this? Arimia, do you have anything you want to say about this manga?
No, I pretty much already said it.
Okay. Justin, you're the one who recommended this to us. So this is all you've read so far, right? Of all the rest of the series too, you haven't read past this as far as you remember?
Yes, correct.
What do you
I've seen
think?
the shotgun.
Where do you think the story goes from here? Do you think it goes like full on like
I have no fucking idea.
like
because I don't know if it's gonna be more delusions, like he's gonna, or we just dropping that, and now he's just fucking weird in the zombie apocalypse. Like, I don't know where this is going.
Okay, let me ask you this then, because you have them physically there. I don't know if you have all of them, but you have pretty much most of them. What do you think? What do you think happens based on the covers of the other ones?
Oh, one sec.
Describe the covers, and then it tells what you think is gonna happen with the series.
We got. Let's see. Hideo possibly has a schoolgirl with him. That's concerning.
Has a what girl?
Like a slime girl?
No, schoolgirl.
Schoolgirl.
Oh, I heard goo
like,
girl. And I was
No. Like he's holding a shotgun, and there's a girl in a dress on a bike. Looks like a elementary school girl. There's a lot of death on these covers. The most concerning one is number 5.
What happens in
where
number 5?
like, well, it's not the cover itself. Like a lot of these are just like people in like apocalypse gear standing around, but it's the spines where there's like, it seems to be a naked dude with 2 knives who just took someone's head off, swinging around. There's stuff like that that's real concerning. And then there's like people with masks and knives who definitely give a real humans are the real problem vibe, but you know, we'll see what happens.
I mean, is he wrong though? Is he wrong? Would he be wrong? I don't know. Okay, interesting covers you got there. This first volume
looks like
covers
shit goes downhill.
Well, I'd imagine. Yeah, the first volume cover is just like a white like background of a bridge that he's on, and then he's holding a shotgun. And I'm assuming this is like, was this the bridge where his coworker died? I don't even remember. But
I think so.
It's like the overpass above the train, which I think he went over a couple times.
Yeah. I'm not convinced the plane thing was real, and that's more he just didn't want to see his coworker get torn apart alive or something. But I don't know. It could be. Who knows?
Anything could happen, and anything might happen, and we might go back to this series at some point in the future. I definitely thought it was interesting. So even if we don't like choose to continue reading it in the future, I'm probably going to go back and read through more of this. It's like 22 volumes, and it's not something to where like it's a lot to read. Like there's a decent chunk to read to where it'll like keep you occupied in your time, but it's also, you know, has a lot of panels where like you're more just focused on the art of what's going on. There's not so much like a lot of like dialogue going on, so you're not like being overloaded with dialogue about the situation, at least with these. So I thought that was nice. I thought it made it very nice to read for me. Again, it reminded me of The Flowers of Evil because it's also kind of paced like that with a lot of its stuff. So this is definitely that kind of vibe. And it's also kind of why I like read up to volume 2 and I was like, oh man, we're really going to stop there? I feel like we're just getting started. This is like literally like episode 1 of this anime or whatever. So yeah, but I did still really enjoy the first 2 volumes. So I would certainly recommend checking it out. So those are my thoughts. All right.
I definitely would be chill with continuing it if we choose to do so. But if it's not an obligation, I won't read it, even though I liked it. So
based.
Fair.
So why would that? Is it mostly just because it's like you're sort of interested, but like also the character that you cared about is already dead? So you know.
No, honestly, quite frankly, it's time. Right now, because I'm a college student, literally the only reason that I read nowadays is because I know that I have a social obligation. Like I've made a social contract that I'm going to be attending these streams, so I have to do the reading for these streams. That is the only thing that keeps me reading manga right now. I just don't have the time for it otherwise.
Yeah,
I start school again on Monday.
Oh, good luck with that.
Too.
Good luck to you, schoolgoers. Okay, enjoy the book club as you try to balance that over time, okay? So, what else? Is there anything else we want to say before we wrap this up for this week? All right, so we just oh god, we got ducks in the studio. Oh my god, somebody escort them out. Okay, so we talked about the first 2 volumes of I Am a Hero this week. That was Justin's pick. Thank you so much, Justin, for your pick during our going around for everybody to pick like a 1-shot or 2-volume thing for us to read. Very good recommendation, I think. So next up on the queue is me. And I've decided, because everything we fucking read for these choices has been dark or like dramatic or fucking experimental or something, okay? We're reading something chill, okay? We're reading some slice of life, all right? I don't care. We're reading the first 2 volumes of New Game. And that's what I've decided, okay? That's what we're gonna do. So, because we gotta calm the fuck down with some of this stuff, okay? We need to stop, like, being so depressed with some of these. So, we're gonna read the first 2
wrapped in plastic. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Listen.
Fucking dress up, darling. I see it right now, wrapped in plastic. I am a hero.
With good reason.
Raw, okay?
Raw. Listen, you know what's not wrapped in plastic? New Game. Okay, so we're gonna be reading the first 2 volumes of New Game, and the good thing about
version read.
Listen. So with New Game, I will say, in contrast to I'm a Hero, where the first 2 volumes feels like 1 episode, the first 2 volumes of New Game, I think, encompass the entire first season of the anime.
Oh.
So
Damn.
Yeah.
well, there's 13 volumes of the manga, and they're all like 4 commas. So that is the other thing. I think this is the first 4 comma that we're going to be reading for the stream. So if you're not familiar with 4 commas, a 4 comma, basically it's like a 4-panel comic. So each page is mostly going to be 4 panels. So what you do with 4-panel comics, even though there might be 2 strips next to each other, you read the 4 panels to the right first from like top down, and then you read the 2 panels to the left. So like New Game, each page is going to have 8 panels on each page. You read the ones that are on the right first, and then you read the ones that are on the left first. You'll understand when you get it. I think it'll make sense pretty quickly once you start reading it.
Like you read them vertically.
You do for it's kind of, again, once you get it, you do read them vertically, but like it's still from like right to left. So you read the vertical strips from like right to left, as opposed to like reading. So like you're not reading the top 2 panels. You're not reading the right panel then the left panel. You're reading all the right panels then all the left panels. And again, you'll understand once you get it. So
on the next episode of Manga Book Club,
on the next
learn
episode
how to fucking read.
But it is still Japanese, where you're supposed to read like the bubbles themselves from right to left. Again, you'll understand when you get it. Okay, you'll understand when you're older. All right. So I'll link about all that in the stream, and we'll talk about that next week. So that is the plan. The plan is next week. We will not be taking breaks. No more breaks. We took too many breaks for the holidays. Okay. So we're gonna be continuing forward. Same time next week here, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Mark your calendars. I'll be scheduling the stream ahead of time, so you can even mark it on there. We talk in the Discord about the Anime Book Club stuff and recommendations, stuff like that in the Discord. So if you're interested in getting in on that discussion, be sure to join the Discord, which you can find links in the description of this video here, or from like links on my bio and Twitter. I think I put it in there. I don't know. You can find the link somehow, okay? And if you still need it somehow, just let me know. I can send it to you. And we also have all the people who monetarily support the streams. We're live here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. So we have various people on like Twitch who subscribe. Thank you to those people. And we have, I think one person is a member of me on YouTube. So thank you. I think that's still Lil Lasagna. So thank you so much to Lil Lasagna, if that's still you. So thank you to them, and the ones who are supporting on Patreon, where I don't post anything. You can see some old scripts of mine on there, I think, but that's pretty much, I'm not posting on there regularly. If you want to use these things as tip jars, you can, monetary support. But right now, at least, I'm not like spamming them with like exclusive content.
Is Aztec still a Patreon subscriber?
As far as I remember, yeah. I still get money every now and then from it, so I think that's...
Is he the one who, when I asked him, are you still aware that you're subscribed to Chaplin on Patreon? He was like, I'm I'm a generous god.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Listen, he's my sole patron, I think. I don't think I have another patron. Or maybe I do and I don't remember, but I don't know. Listen.
Wow.
Thank you to everybody who monetarily
Shows how much
supports
you
this.
appreciate it.
Okay, I will destroy you and everything you stand for. Okay. You know what? I'm a hero. Trash manga. Don't read it. I'm putting this shit in the garbage, okay? And I'm also canceling Justin for recommending it, okay? He's being kicked out of the book club. His mod privileges are being revoked, okay? This motherfucker is hiding his online appearance on Discord like a coward, okay? So I'm just gonna remove him from all of the channels because fuck you for daring
Play
to
the
call me
band
out.
sound effect.
Yeah, oh, true.
Listen to me, motherfucker. You were banned for spreading misinformation and lies.
Anyways, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much to all of you guys for being here to talk about the manga. And we will all be here next week to talk about New Game. And I'll be posting in the chat about that soon after the stream ends. So, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.